Hey, it's Willie Armelini from Flowers and Scents with your floral industry buzz. Today, we're going to interview Becky Roberts. Becky Roberts is the director of what used to be called PMA, the Produce Marketing Association. It's now called the International Fresh Produce Association because they merged with United Fresh. And Becky represents basically all the supermarkets in the U.S., and that represents a whole lot of flower buying. So it's important we talk to Becky. So without further ado, Becky Roberts. So, Becky Roberts, welcome to Flowers and Scents, and glad to have you here after all this time. You and I have sort of a long history. We've bounced into each other in many places in the world.
Yes.
Here, there, and everywhere. And so, how'd you get in the flower business anyway? PMA, is that your origin?
Yes, it was very much. I started at PMA 25 years ago. Started part-time working in their information center. That rolled into a full-time position. I moved from the information center to working with volunteers. At that point, we had a retail, a food service, and a floral volunteer group. And eventually that rolled to 100% focus on our floral segment.
So they were volunteers that were on a committee of some sort, or
correct? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so now PMA has done something interesting here. You joined forces with, I guess, United Fresh.
Yes.
And so now you're the International Fresh Produce Association. And of course, that makes me wonder why, since you're in the floral part of it, couldn't they leave produce out? Wouldn't that have been more logical?
Well, the two organizations joined to be the best of both organizations. And of course, from PMA's perspective, we were always wanting to be the floral community, the home for the floral segment. And that still remains a very strong commitment for the new organization. So we were launched January 1st of 2022 with that goal of bringing the best of both two organizations to our members. So long history with floral. For example, this year when we announced the Floral Marketer of the Year, this will be the 42nd time we have done the announcement of a recognizing a floral leader in our community. So long history with floral, very committed to it.
That predates you then.
Yes, very much does predate me. So a lot of history there with our organization, with the floral community.
Well, all right. Well, it obviously with the produce in the name, it sort of skews that way. But we know that you're part of the floral, and United Fresh was, if I'm not mistaken, was a bigger organization. At least in terms of their convention, they had a bigger footprint. That's all I'm gonna make. Is that fair to say or not?
I would say Fresh Summit probably was the larger of the two shows. The big footprint United always had was in advocacy. They're focused down in Washington, D.C. So PMA was more of the collaborator, the more of bringing across the entire supply chain together. So that's how, when we merge the two organizations, how we're bringing both of those components to the new organization.
Okay, so that sort of answers my next question, or leads me to my next question. Like, what does the new organization do besides hold conventions?
Yeah. So the big thing with our organization is we want to represent the industries, so the produce and the floral industry. So whether that is bringing them together to help grow their business, which is where you see a lot of the events, those type of things happening, but it's also to guide and advocate. So that comes into whether we're doing research, to provide that information that our industry needs to be able to grow their business, or is it advocating? And this could be advocating not only down in Washington, D.C., but also advocating out to the, bigger world. When you think about advocating, thinking about, whether the media, if they have certain stories that we want to make sure, we are able to tell our story to the consumers. It's also getting out there in front of consumers to be able to see how they perceive our industry. So certainly those were more of our principles, is connecting, guiding, and advocating when we think about how we move forward with our business plans.
And the new organization is better suited to do that, I guess.
Correct. As I said, bringing, both the organizations together help to, really fine tune those areas for us.
All right. And the reason you and I have bounced into each other over the years is because you attend some of the other conventions that are going on around the world.
Yes.
And so how do you work with those other organizations, with SAF or WFSA or?
So certainly our organization does have very good relationships with, whether it's AFIF, SAF, WFSA, Cal Flowers, Circa Flores, Expo Flores. Basically, what we want to try to do is bring those organizations together to see if there's certain industry issues across the globe that we as an industry need to address, and how an association can help bring that forward, and then go back to our members and see what we can do to address it and come up with solutions.
Well, I would think, again, a good segue here, because I guess Floral Board is something that appears on your radar, because as big consumers of Floral, you're going to be involved in that in some way or another if it happens.
Yeah, I mean, certainly that this would be where the association listens to the industry, and whatever the industry decides, we would back it 100%. So once again, that's, whatever the industry, the direction they go in, the association would be, more than happy to step up and help in any way we can.
Well, that's actually good news. Okay, because I think they're going to need some support there from your level. And
Willie, that's something, once again, that would be the industry deciding whether to move forward with that. Our association doesn't take a position whether to move forward or not move forward. It's all about, what does the industry decide? They're the ones that have to really, be there and cast their vote and decide which way the industry wants to go.
Yeah.
So again, the association does not have a position. That would be for the industry to decide.
Yeah, all the organizations are sort of taking that position to just waiting back and make the decision, and we'll decide how we support it.
Right. What kind of resources are needed from the associations to help forward whatever they decide. But at this point right now, our role is to help get information out, that this is something that's being put forward, help to answer any questions, make sure everyone has the information they need to make an informed decision. But that would be the role of the association currently.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, there's something in my head that's been spinning around every time. I've been in the business a long time, and there's been this sort of, I guess it's a competition between the supermarkets and the florists, if you will. And at many points, at least in my career, it has been somewhat adversarial. The supermarkets are getting all the flowers, or the florists are getting all the flowers, or blah blah blah. And I want to think that because of COVID, maybe that, I don't know, I don't feel the tension. I don't know, maybe because I'm not day to day in the business, but I think there was sort of an awakening, because the supermarkets sort of were the ones that stayed open first. Right. And kept flowers flowing, and then everybody else said, well, if they can do it, we can do it too. And maybe and I would be pleased to hear it if it was that sort of took some of the animosity out of it and just said, okay, everybody's selling flowers, everybody can make money, there's enough room for everybody. And I think supermarkets certainly have secured their position in the world, in the floral world, as florists have. I think there's enough room for everybody. You concur with that?
Absolutely. I mean, I think at this point, what we've been trying to see is, helping consumers enjoy the beauty and everything floral can bring to their lives. So certainly we agree that however we can get it in consumers' hands so they can have that great experience. Certainly at the end of the day, we believe that, once again, it's all about everybody wanting to grow sales, wanting to grow demand. And if we all work together, we certainly feel like that can be a great common goal, and we can move the needle forward.
Becky, what percentage of the I guess, supermarkets does the organization represent? Is that, you know what I
So
mean?
pretty much all the supermarkets are our members.
They
So
are.
yes, and that's through the produce side of the business. Once again, so once a supermarket joins, it joins for holistically. So everyone is a member of that company. So once they join, whether it's the produce department or the floral department, they all have access to our information and events and those type of things. So, but yes, we represent probably, I would say, at least practically 100% of the supermarkets here in the U.S.
Well, that's a pretty big statement, and therefore, a lot of things in your hands there. You've got a lot of responsibility with all that going on.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, what we're mainly trying to do is make sure that the supermarkets have the information as well as the opportunities to connect to continue to grow their sales in the floral department.
All right, and so you also have I guess your first convention coming up here in
Yes.
Orlando as the new organization, right?
Correct. The Global Produce and Floral Show.
Okay, because that's what you're marketing as the global show. Yes, I've been seeing the advertisements.
Mhm.
And so what can people expect to see there?
So once again, the show floor is segmented like it was in Fresh Summit. So the floral marketplace is pretty much front and center as people walk to the show floor. We do have education on the day prior, so that would be Thursday, October 27th, and then the show is October 28th and 29th,
Right.
Friday and Saturday. The floral reception will be Friday night. That's when we'll be announcing this year's Floral Marker of the Year. So it's following pretty much what Fresh Summit was before, with how we did things. But yeah, at this point, we'll have to see how people perceive it. If they see any nuances, they think it's different. But at this point, the structure and schedule is fairly similar to what we had before.
Yeah, and that worked pretty well. I'm happy it's segmented because
Yes.
I don't have to eat my way through the other part of
Yeah.
it.
You don't have to go find the best guacamole and
Well, I probably will anyway, just because it's so tempting. You can't hardly miss it. You can smell your way through there.
yes, absolutely.
Hey, well, look, this was only meant to be a short little interview, just to get my audience, again, the organization is such a big part of the floral industry. And I think for the most part, the florists and the wholesalers are not really aware of what's going on in that level, because I don't see a lot of them at your conventions.
No.
And
Like
makes
I
sense.
said, it's mostly through the supply chain where we see the big crossover between, what companies do.
Sure, the vendors, yeah, everybody, the
Yeah.
people selling the flowers is
Right,
that's the
right.
common denominator here. So,
Yes.
well, we look forward to seeing that, and I will see you at that show for a day and take some pictures and do my reports. And I thank you for coming on Flowers and Scents and talking with us about this, because I think it's important for my audience to know this.
Well, and I just want to encourage everyone to realize that IFPA will continue to do what we have done in the past as far as what PMA did. So there will be always the floral component at the global show, but we also will continue the floral conferences in the spring. So one in Miami and one in Anaheim. We're also continuing the point of sales data, the monthly reports we do that really kind of shows how things are going in as far as sales wise in the supermarket, as well as we do the benchmarking. So we'll once again have benchmarkings coming out for the floral department, so we can see whether they're growing, if there's shrink, what kind of things are happening there as far as that. And then we'll also be doing some consumer research once again, so we can keep our pulse on how consumers are perceiving our product, and if we can see how we're growing as far as getting them to think about floral more than just holidays or more than just gift giving, that it's something they should have in their life more regularly.
Yeah. I was at forget whether it was at the SAF or Cal Flowers at this point, but there was a young lady from a supermarket, and I don't recall the name, who just said basically that during COVID, she was a star.
Right.
Floral was the star.
Yes.
They were
yes.
like, can you keep those margins up?
Yeah.
Much cheaper.
Yeah.
So you must have had that across the board, I think.
Yes. there was double-digit growth for the pay, for 2020 and 2022. I mean, 2021. I would say just over the last month or two, we have started to see the deceleration, of the slowdown.
Yeah.
But that's typically, we thought, summer has always been a little slowdown for the floral department. But certainly at this point, we have seen that the sales, as far as they slowed down, but they have not gone back to any kind of pre-COVID level. So we're still seeing that significant growth that happened over those past 2 years. We're still seeing that. Now, of course, inflation, and then as people have started taking more vacations and traveling and going back to restaurants, we know that does have an impact on how, the impulse buy for floral products. But at this point, we're heading into the fall and, the end of the year holidays. So we're certainly very positive about how that's going to play out for the rest of the year.
All right. Well, it's going to be interesting. That's what it was the buzz at both of the last shows was, okay,
Yeah.
now what? Can
Yeah.
we keep this up or not?
Yeah.
And,
I think everyone expected this slowdown. I think they basically at this point have been trying to figure out what is my strategy to maintain what we've been able to, happen over the past 2 years. So more to come, sure.
Sure. Well, it's as you know, you've been around a long time, 25 years, you said that. So
Yes.
the business continues to change. We find
Yep.
challenges, and there's always something that's popping up that's going to make flowers better or worse, or harder to get, or more expensive, or
Yep,
who knows.
absolutely.
But the breeders keep breeding and producing gorgeous new flowers, and growers keep growing cool stuff.
Yep.
And maybe you'll send me that picture of you and your dog, and I'll post it up here, if you don't mind.
I'll see what I can do for you, Willie.
You can do for me. So I have a picture of you, and again, my dogs are sitting here wondering what's going on. But hey, thank you for coming on Flowers and Scents, and you have a great day, and we'll be in touch.
Okay, thank you, Willie, and look forward to seeing you in Orlando.
I'll be here, dear. Thank you.
Okay,
Bye
bye.
now.